Avengers vs. X-Men. What could cause the two biggest Titan teams in the Marvel Universe to go toe-to-toe? The Phoenix Force. For those of you who don't know what the Phoenix Force is, it is the reason behind many of the events that happen in the Marvel Universe. It is all-powerful, immortal, and causes the death of many, including Jean Grey. It is one of the most feared beings in existence, as its purpose is to destroy so it can rebuild many parts of the universe. And it's on its way back to planet Earth. Things begin with Sam Alexander, aka Nova, crash landing on the planet Earth to warn the Avengers that the Phoenix is returning. After a little bit of discussion, Wolverine says that he believes the Phoenix Force is on its way for Hope Summers. Captain America believes Wolverine, and the whole Avengers team heads over to Utopia, the current home of Cyclops and the X-Men. Captain America wants to place Hope Summers into protective custody, but Cyclops sees her as the mutant messiah and refuses to let her go. With that simple denial to let Hope go, Cap calls for Avengers Assemble! As the battle begins, Emma Frost hides Hope inside, but she didn't do it well enough as Wolverine and Spider-Man find her. She then uses a portion of the Phoenix Force and defeats both Spider-Man and Wolverine, and Hope flees. This leads to both sides trying to find her. While everyone's off trying to find her, Thor and the Secret Avengers are up in space trying to stop the Phoenix Force, if possible. The goal is to stop it before it can even get near the planet Earth. During their search for Hope, Wolverine and Captain America begin to argue about how they should handle Hope. Wolverine wants to kill her to prevent the Phoenix Force from killing everyone, but Cap thinks she can still be saved. They argue for a bit, and to bench Wolverine from the mission, Cap ejects him from the plane. Good thing Wolverine heals everything, right? Well, rather quickly, Hope finds Wolverine herself, and she explains that she wants to try and take in the Phoenix Force and use it to reignite mutant kind. She wants him there so that if she does lose control, he'll kill her. He's the only one that she trusts to do it. So they decide to go to the blue area of the moon to absorb the Phoenix before it can even get to Earth. Both sides of the battle also eventually end up on the blue side of the moon, and now we have the Avengers, the X-Men, Wolverine, and Hope all there waiting for the arrival of the Phoenix Force. It is then that Thor falls to the moon's surface, defeated, declaring the Phoenix is near. And as the Phoenix grows closer, Hope begins to feel herself losing control, and she asks Wolverine to kill her. Meanwhile, as everyone else is fighting, Iron Man and Giant Man have developed a device that they hope can stop the Phoenix Force, and they fire it. Leave it to these guys to try and use science to fix everything, huh? Their device doesn't actually defeat the Phoenix, it actually splinters the Phoenix Force into various fragments. Splintered and now off of its course, the Phoenix Force falls to the planet, and on the X-Men side of the fight. It lands in Cyclops, Emma Frost, Namor, Colossus, and Magic. Now overpowered with the Phoenix Force powers, the 5 mutants officially defeat the Avengers and take Hope, and they return to the planet. 10 days pass before we go back to this story. The Phoenix Five, as they are now going by, have started to reform the world according to their will. They provide free energy, food, and water to all humanity. The Avengers are summoned to the White House, where it is collectively decided that regardless of how helpful the Phoenix Five are, they need to be stopped because their powers are going unchecked right now. It is then agreed that the only way to stop the Phoenix Five is through Hope, so they're going to need to rescue her from Utopia. A full-scale assault is planned against Utopia, where the Phoenix Five have made their base, and while they are easily defeated by Cyclops, they do manage to extract Hope thanks to the Scarlet Witch. Upon her rescue, she is brought to Kunlun to train as Iron Fist did, so that she can hopefully eventually control the Phoenix Force. Things get a bit crazy with battles breaking out all over the place, and eventually Namor gets injured by Scarlet Witch. Furious, he decides that he's had enough, so he launches a full-scale assault against Wakanda. In response, Captain America assembles every Avenger so he can stop Namor, and through a hard-fought battle, the Avengers finally defeat him. Upon his defeat, the power of the Phoenix inside Namor returns to the remaining 4, making them more powerful than ever. And upon winning, the rest of the Avengers retreat back to Kunlun, where they find Professor X, and he's had enough. Time passes as the battles continue, and more of the Avengers get captured by the X-Men, and Hope's training shows nothing. 2 more of the Phoenix Five are taken down by Spider-Man actually. During a rescue mission, Spider-Man comes across Magic and Colossus. Basically, using Colossus's moral code, Spider-Man baits them into defeating each other. While this is a win, it made Cyclops and Emma Frost even more powerful. Cyclops then surprises the Avengers at Kunlun with his newfound power. They try to stall him long enough for Hope to get away, and she does manage to get away long enough to learn her final lesson. The lesson of Shao Lao the dragon, the source of the Iron Fist power, and she absorbs his energy into herself. Using this newfound power, she's actually able to hold off Cyclops, and she then combines her power with Scarlet Witch, and the two of them manage to actually hold off Cyclops permanently. Hope actually has so much power that she sends Cyclops to the moon. Realizing with the power of Hope and Scarlet Witch, they can defeat them finally, the Avengers and Professor X make their final stand against Cyclops and Emma Frost. But they aren't alone. They're also assisted by Magneto and the remaining X-Men, because Emma Frost's rule has become more tyrannical than ever, and Magneto agrees they need to be stopped. Magneto and the Avengers attack them physically while Professor X attacks them mentally, and just as they're about to win, Cyclops attacks Emma Frost himself, taking her share of the Phoenix Force power for himself. And then, in an act that will ripple through the X-Men books for months, Cyclops kills Professor X. But Cyclops turning into the Dark Phoenix still isn't enough to stop the combined effort of Hope and Scarlet Witch. Using their rage over Professor X's death and their combined powers, they finally defeat Cyclops. With his body broken, the Dark Phoenix Force jumps into Hope. But does she train enough to contain it? Using her powers, Hope gains control over the Phoenix and uses it to restore the mutant population. Then, Hope and the Scarlet Witch wish away the Dark Phoenix. In the aftermath, Cyclops is arrested and Captain America reforms the Avengers and the X-Men as combined teams instead of separate teams. Captain America feels that he's been ignoring the mutant problem for far too long, and he wants to help them get what they finally deserve. They shouldn't be exiled to Utopia.